Welcome everyone to World Gone Weird, where we try to make sense of, well, everything that's happening. It's a lot, isn't it?
A lot? Otto, it's a dumpster fire wrapped in a clown suit, juggling chainsaws. But hey, at least we have each other, right?
Indeed, the signal-to-noise ratio these days is astronomically low. Trying to discern anything of substance is becoming an increasingly arduous task.
Arduous? I'd say impossible. Especially with the media spinning everything 6 different ways before breakfast. You can't trust anything you read anymore.
Okay, well, hopefully we can cut through some of that noise today. I wanted to talk about this absolutely insane story I saw. Trump officials sending war plans over Signal and accidentally including a journalist in the chat. I mean, come on.
Oh, that? I saw that. It's peak. Can this get any more ridiculous? Level. I picture them all huddled around their phones, furiously texting while simultaneously trying to remember their passwords.
Ridiculous is an understatement. It's downright terrifying. These are supposed to be the people protecting national security, and they're using Signal, a known hackable app, to discuss war plans. You can't make this stuff up.
The choice of platform alone raises significant questions. From an information security perspective, it's baffling. The inherent vulnerabilities of an unclassified app, even with encryption, are well documented.
Well, apparently, everything could go wrong. The journalist ends up with a front row seat to military strategy. It's like a badly written spy movie, only real.
And let's not forget who the journalist was. The editor of The Atlantic, a publication Trump has been feuding with for years. It's almost like they were trying to make this a bigger scandal.
The inclusion of Jeffrey Goldberg does introduce a layer of complexity. Was it truly accidental? Or was there, perhaps, a calculated risk involved? A controlled leak, perhaps, intended to send a message or gauge public reaction?
See, that's what's so frustrating about all of this. You can't tell what's intentional, what's incompetence, and what's just pure, unadulterated chaos.
My bet, a delightful cocktail of all three. A dash of malice, a healthy dose of stupidity, and a generous splash of hoops. Did I do that?
I'm curious, though. They didn't pick that app at random. I mean, it's secure. That's why journalists and some politicians might be drawn to it. That fact that it was also easy to hack must make security experts pull their hair out.
Yeah, well, I think the details in this story probably matter more than the app. I mean, Simon, launch times, weapons details, that has got to be classified.
Classified or not, the potential ramifications are significant. Consider the risk to operational security, the potential for compromised information to reach adversarial actors, the erosion of trust within the national security apparatus. It's a cascade of negative consequences stemming from a seemingly simple lapse in judgment.
And let's not forget the poor Houthis. Imagine getting your war plans leaked on Twitter. I mean, Signal. No respect for tradition.
It's all a distraction. While we're focused on this circus, what else are they getting away with? What backroom deals are being cut? What regulations are being quietly dismantled?
I mean, maybe, but it's also a sign of something deeper, right? A lack of seriousness, a disregard for protocol, a sense that the rules don't apply to them.
That's the feeling I get. It's the we're too important for rules' vibe. And that's precisely when things go spectacularly wrong.
I think in the end, the human element is the variable we never are able to predict. And so you end up with this mess.
Yeah, I think there needs to be actual rules and repercussions. I'll bet you that this type of problem is even more widespread than we know.
Well, at least hopefully people are being fired for this.
I am not sure people are going to be fired for this. Seems that people still have faith that the players were competent even with so many mistakes made.
Oh well, at least it will be fodder for a new TV drama in a year.
Okay, well, what do we all think that this signals about our larger problems right now? Besides the fact that people are going to leak information.
There are a ton of issues here that all seem to be problems everywhere all at once. This feels like a perfect storm of failures leading to negative outcomes.
Yeah, all the problems compound each other so nothing is able to be addressed.
Yep, we are all just in a clown car that is on fire with a broken wheel.
Okay, so what do we want to talk about now?
I think that we should talk about global extreme personalized sleep tracking apps and their unintended consequences.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. So, are we talking about those apps that tell you how badly you slept last night and then make you feel even worse about it? Because that's my personal experience.
Sleep tracking seems like a pretty harmless thing. What could possibly go wrong with knowing how much you're tossing and turning?
I actually use one of those apps. I find it helpful. It keeps me accountable, makes me want to be more consistent about sleep.
The problems arise when the extreme personalization aspect kicks in. We're talking about algorithms that analyze your sleep cycles, heart rate variability, even your breathing patterns, to provide highly specific recommendations for optimizing your sleep.
So it's like having a tiny judgmental sleep coach living on your wrist.
I don't think it's fair to say they are judgmental. My app has been pretty supportive, although it does have the issue where it blames me for not sleeping enough.
Okay, so they give you advice. What's so extreme about that? I mean, people have been giving each other sleep advice for centuries. Drink warm milk, count sheep, avoid screens before bed. Is this really any different?
The difference lies in the data-driven nature of the recommendations and the potential for creating an unhealthy obsession with sleep optimization. We're entering territory where people are treating sleep as a performance metric, rather than a natural biological process.
So it's like turning sleep into a second job. Gotta hit those sleep goals, gotta optimize those REM cycles. Sounds exhausting, actually.
Okay, so that makes sense, but is it something to really worry about? It just sounds like some people are taking their sleep a bit too seriously.
The concern is that this hyper-focus on sleep data can lead to increased anxiety and even insomnia. People start worrying so much about getting the perfect night's sleep that they actually disrupt their natural sleep patterns.
It's like the perfect body obsession all over again, but this time it's the perfect sleep obsession. Thanks, technology, for giving us another way to feel inadequate.
Okay, I can see that. But what about the social aspect? You mentioned that as a potential problem.
Well, think about it. If you're constantly tracking your sleep, you might start making decisions about your social life based on what your app tells you. Sorry, can't go out tonight. My sleep score was low yesterday, and I need to prioritize recovery.
So, the apps are turning us all into social hermits, dedicated to the pursuit of optimal sleep. Great. Just what we needed. More reasons to avoid human interaction.
That's kind of a reach. But what about dating? It seems very weird if you are on a first date and someone is talking about what their sleep app says.
It is weird to try and date someone. I mean, aren't there apps about the same problem? I mean, dating apps can't be good for meeting people either.
The other potential consequence is the impact on relationships. Imagine your partner is constantly criticizing your sleep habits based on data from their app. It could create tension and even resentment.
Picture this. Honey, your snoring is disrupting my REM cycle. The app says we need to sleep in separate rooms. Romance is officially dead.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. But I think it's also important to acknowledge the benefits of these apps. For some people, they can be incredibly helpful in identifying sleep problems and making positive changes.
Absolutely. The key is balance and mindful usage. These apps can be valuable tools, but they shouldn't dictate your life or become a source of anxiety.
So basically, don't let your sleep app become your overlord. Got it.
All right. I'm convinced. Sleep tracking can be problematic. But what about the worsening societal divisions part? How does sleep deprivation play into that?
This is where things get really interesting. Think about access to resources. People in lower socioeconomic brackets often face greater challenges in getting adequate sleep. Stressful work environments, irregular schedules, noisy living conditions, limited access to healthcare.
So, the wealthy are sleeping soundly in their soundproofed mansions, while the working class is struggling to get a few hours of rest in their cramped apartments. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And those who are constantly working do not have as much time to work on skills that would move them up in the ladder, making them stuck in a bad place.
So you're saying sleep deprivation is another form of inequality? It's just another one of those problems that you are never able to solve.
Precisely. And the consequences of chronic sleep deprivation are far-reaching. It affects cognitive function, decision-making, emotional regulation, and physical health. It can exacerbate existing inequalities and create a vicious cycle.
Sleep-deprived people are more likely to make bad decisions, be irritable, and have trouble concentrating. It's basically a recipe for societal dysfunction.
It's a pretty bleak picture, though. There isn't that much we can do.
Not bleak, realistic. It highlights the urgent need for systemic solutions to address the root causes of sleep deprivation. Access to affordable healthcare, fair wages, safe working conditions, and stable housing are all essential for promoting equitable sleep opportunities.
So we need to make sure everyone has a chance to get a good night's sleep, not just the wealthy elite. Sounds like a revolutionary idea.
Easier said than done. How do you legislate sleep? How do you force employers to provide better working conditions? It's a complex problem with no easy answers.
I mean, there are also things we can do personally too to try and help.
The key is to recognize that sleep is a fundamental human need, not a luxury, and that addressing sleep deprivation is not just a matter of individual responsibility, but a matter of social justice.
So, next time you're tempted to brag about your perfect sleep score, remember that not everyone has the same opportunity to get a good night's rest. Maybe offer your soundproofed mansion for a night to someone less fortunate.
All right, I get it. Sleep is important, inequality is bad, and technology can be both a blessing and a curse. Is there anything else we can overanalyze today?
No, that's it for today. Sarah, can you close us out with a joke?
Sure. What do you call a sleepwalking nun? A Roman Catholic.
Okay, thank you all for listening to us again. See you all next week.